All right. I want to start off with reacting to a video before we do anything else. Let's do that. Hold on. Oh my gosh, could we please?
On October 10th, garnering 747,000.
Can I please freaking click the button? YouTube, you such a piece of shit. All right.
Battlefield 6 released on October 10th, garnering 747,000 concurrent players on Steam. It became the best-selling game of 2025. This wasn't just the biggest Battlefield launch, but one of the biggest video game launches, shattering records with over 7 million copies sold in just 3 days.
3 days! The only thing I gotta say is like the game came out late in 2025, you know, in October. So it was the last quarter for 2025. So for it to shatter that many records, it was definitely a good game upon release. The beta definitely helped sell it. A lot of promises were made about the game that people were looking forward to seeing if they would be upheld. So
whip out that calculator, Poindexter, because that's on average 27 copies sold per second. Assuming the number of sales is exactly 7 million, and that each person purchased the base edition of the game, we're looking at gross revenue of at least $490 million. And despite the game's massive otherworldly budget of $400 million, that still leaves EA with 90 million in net revenue, at least.
Which is not bad, but obviously not what they wanted.
Even more impressive, Battlefield 6
But I mean, that's a lot of money to make in just 3 days.
is one of only 4 games released since 2009 that outsold Call of Duty in its respective year. And out of these 4, Battlefield 6 is the only title to successfully beat Call of Duty in its own genre. Fuck you. By all metrics, Battlefield 6 was a massive success. So you would think only a fool could squander such a golden opportunity. Have you met my friend, Electronic Arts? Folks, I hate to say it,
I gave it a shot because, despite the fact that it's EA, because I originally boycotted EA for what they did to Command & Conquer. So I took a plunge in playing a new EA game.
Battlefield 6 has fallen off, at least by the outrageous standards it set. While the game is currently hovering around 50,000 daily active users on Steam, judging purely by the numbers, Battlefield 6 has had an overall player retention rate of just 6.7%.
Which you expect a drop off after the first month anyway, but not this massive.
Why does everyone laugh when I say that?
And yeah, obsessing over Steam chart numbers never gives the full picture, but this is why I asked if the hype was real for Battlefield 6, because although I found it pretty enjoyable, there was something missing. It's why I called it a confusing success, because despite all the issues I had, sometimes you just can't argue with the numbers or the results. I had a ton of fun with this game, recently played a few matches, but didn't really want to play anymore. It felt like a bright flame that went out too fast. And player drop-off happens with most games that break into the mainstream this hard. Just look at Pal World. Speaking of, where are we at in the Pokemon ripoff saga? Pikmin? Okay, yeah, this is just Breath of the Wild Pokemon. But here's the question of the day. Why did Battlefield 6 fall off? It's undeniable it has. Was its fate predetermined, written in the Elder Scrolls? Could this have been avoided? Or perhaps does Occam's razor slice true once more? Battlefield 6 did not and still doesn't have enough content or a robust live service to maintain that casual player base it first attracted. But that's the TLDR version, the simplest answer. The truth is more complicated. And a better question to ask might be, how the fuck does the studio who made the best-selling game of last year get hit with layoffs?
The oldest reason in the world, money.
All these questions and more will be answered. But before
I'll say that a big reason why I stopped playing was because I was getting tired of the what was it that I was getting tired of? It was originally really grindy to unlock a lot of the stuff, the guns, which I know that they fixed, but it just felt like it was missing what I used to enjoy about Battlefield 2, was that the maps were larger, so it felt like whenever you go with a squad to attack an objective, it felt I don't know, maybe more impactful, because like if you're like what I'm just trying to like click because I'm just thinking right off the bat, like what made me quit playing Battlefield 6. And I know I missed the bigger maps. The maps don't feel as massive as they used to be. I missed the commander mode, which was with the large scale combat where someone's assigned to help with like doing artillery positions or doing artillery barrages and calling in supplies. I feel like that they originally I heard that they promised big maps, like really big maps, and then the largest map we got was for the Battle Royale version of the game, which was pretty dog water, you know. I think that instead of it, they could have introduced so much more into the game. If you're not going to introduce like the commander mode, at least if you have the big maps, introduced artillery barrages that you and your teammates can partake in, like that could be part of your kit. Or just put it on the map as like there's artillery things like howitzers that you could shoot. There's some issues with the server stability as well, at least what I experienced, which made it difficult to play with friends. If I played by myself or with anybody else who's on the East Coast, it was completely fine. As soon as I played with a friend that was in Central or West Coast, it was awful. Tons of lag. It was impossible to play with your friends that were in the same country, just in different regions. I couldn't play with friends who were in Central time zone because the servers was just it just lagged atrociously for me. I go from having 0 to 30 ping to 1 to 200 ping. It was ridiculous. I was sliding all over the place. Now I'm starting to remember things like that. I couldn't play with all my friends. I had to basically decide. Like I had the most enjoyment, unfortunately, playing by myself because I didn't have to deal with the lag of playing with somebody who's on a different server. You know, they definitely could have improved on the server stability within the United States. It's like I know the U.S. is big, but I shouldn't have these crazy ping issues within my own country, or playing with people within my own country. Yeah, there's a multitude of things that could be why a lot of people quit. Probably because there aren't that many maps. A lot of them feel samey. Yeah, let's hear what Ant-Man has to say.
Before we jump into it, have a look at my wares. Some call this junk. Me, I call them treasures. And if you're a collector and enjoyer of physical media like me, then you need to check out today's sponsor, Whatnot. This is the best live stream shopping app where you can buy, sell, or auction off anything you want. Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon cards, retro games, controllers, consoles, they've got it all. You can bid in these rapid fire auctions and you never know what cool stuff you'll find. Whatnot gave me some store credit, so let's see what I can get with it.
Banjo, she's live.
Yes, give it to me.
1 second.
That's actually sweet, I got that. Japanese Banjo-Kazooie, let's go, baby. Whatnot is pretty great because you can get some niche collector's items at very reasonable prices. And the fast format ensures that streams and auctions stay fresh with new items constantly being sold.
Wearing the same shirt while you did that?
Think about your purchases. Well, each channel has their own shop on the side. I bought a Luigi's Mansion 2 poster for $6, a Halo 2 poster for $22. If you sign up for Whatnot today, you'll get $15 off your first purchase. You can get some Yu-Gi-Oh cards or retro games with that. And if you sign up using that QR code or the link link in the description, you get a chance to win $500 in Whatnot credit if you follow me on Whatnot, and thank you Whatnot for sponsoring this video.
And now for
whatnot.
something completely different.
I've seen many comments calling Battlefield 6 a rug pull. They call him Mr. Bait and Switch. Many were led to believe that lessons had been learned from 2042.
By the Nine Divines!
It felt like DICE had looked back at 2042 and said to us,
That was something, right?
DICE and EA definitely wanted to give off this impression that BF6 would be a return to form for the series and the modern military shooter. No, we're not putting any of those Fortnite skins in our game. We're going for grounded realism. That's what we're all about here. So we have this new skin for sale. I know it's been 2 weeks since the game came out, but we gotta make...
Yeah, I never saw anybody wearing these skins though, but despite the fact that, yeah, these ridiculous looking skins, no thanks.
money somehow. During the beta, many fans also noticed how small the maps were. A lot
Yep, and I remember being told that they would be bringing big maps.
of fans voiced their
Bringing the big maps then. You know, they would be introducing bigger maps. These are just the starter maps for the beta, but we'll get much larger ones. Now, granted, this map is part 1 of like 4 segments of a map, but depends on the game mode. If you play the conquest modes, which is like the largest scale mode that you can play, sure, you get the entirety of this map, but even then, that's small.
concerns. So many that DICE actually responded and assured us that the full game would have much larger maps. This was just a small slice. You know, we chose the smallest map so we could get better data in the beta.
Yeah, the smallest slice is in like a quarter of the size of the map, which is still pretty tiny. You put 4 tiny slices of something together and it's still small, right? Like, it's the maps in Battlefield 3 were bigger than this one. The maps in Battlefield 2 were much larger than those. Like, that's something that a lot of players miss, and unfortunately, these game devs, I feel like the biggest reason why is because of server stability with the larger maps. Like, a lot of people have to somehow be able to render the maps as they're running into those areas. I don't know. I know it's a complicated issue technically, but I feel like it's definitely doable these days. It's just a matter of time frames between when investors want a return on their investment and when the company's, you know, pushing their development team to meet deadlines. A lot of corporate bullshit that does get involved, which leads to why a lot of the maps are slow. You know, they're trying to make time, and unfortunately, they don't give. I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt. They don't give these map makers enough time to satisfy the needs of the player base within the time frame that they're given. Because you gotta remember, there's a lot of detail on all these maps, and as small as they are, like, imagine having to make 4 times that size, and you have to do that within a couple years. Like, oftentimes, I don't know how long it takes to make a map, but I imagine it's probably a couple months, you know, per map, at least. It's not like I mean, I'm just thinking, like, even in StarCraft 2, we have kind of small maps for 1v1s and teams. But then think about how much time it takes to make those maps, and that's for an RTS game. And if we're talking about this level of detail for those maps compared to a first-person shooter like Battlefield 6, it's obviously much larger, but much more time needed.
Data. But then the game came out, and it seemed players were right to be skeptical. Map design left a lot to be desired compared to previous entries, with the biggest problems being their very compact size, how little breathing room there was. A lot of the maps are too symmetrical and don't really fulfill any particular fantasy or war scenario. You pick any map from Battlefield 1, and I think it stands above the selection here. Look at Monte Grappa, where you're storming a mountain or defending it. Mountain warfare, that's the fantasy. Now, the newest map, Contaminated, is solid, but this game still feels like it's missing that X factor, that secret spice. You know, Battlefield 4 had insane levolution and destructibility. Battlefield 1 and 5 had big operations fighting over battle lines. with giant behemoth vehicles that you could not ignore. And even 2042 had its 128 player count to distinguish it from the other games. It's as if the devs felt that having some quiet or slow areas might be too boring for the Call of Duty fans they were trying to appeal to. And I think
they were trying to lure in a younger audience into playing the game, and the younger audience does not have the same appreciation for quiet moments as the older audience does, just because we grew up with that. We have a little bit more attention spans than the younger audience. Yeah, younger, like you look at any of the Zoomers, for instance, and they grew up with TikTok and all that bullshit. So they grew up with getting their content, their dopamine right away with no restraint, just instantly injected, you know. Inject their adrenaline, and that's just not. It's kind of unfortunately damaged how games are developed today because of simple shit like that. You know, just gotta get that fix in now. Don't need to build up for a story for it. If you look at it, it was an excellent point that was made. I forgot who made it, that talked about how older games, they build up to the story to the action, whereas now games are made with action right away. You know, that's why StarCraft 2 changed its format from the 6 worker count to the 12 worker count, because if you have double the workers, you split up the economy, you cut off the first 3 minutes of the game. Basically, you shaved off 3 minutes of StarCraft 2, and you've made it now where the action hits within 2 to 3 minutes instead of waiting 5 to 6 minutes for something to happen. So there's a lot of things a lot of changes have been made in the gaming industry in order to try to attract younger audiences who have lower attention spans.
that is reason number one the game fell off. It tried too hard to cater to Battlefield fans. I meant to say Call of Duty fans, but I have permanent and irreversible brain damage. Well, that's the second reason. First one's content and map design. It seems that RedSec was meant to be the X factor, but a Battle Royale mode, just the design of it, has very little to do with Battlefield's core identity.
I didn't even like the RedSec game mode. Like, I thought it was okay, but I did not like it as the main game mode. I wanted to jump into a shooter, a Battlefield-like shooter, to play Battlefield. If I wanted to play this, I'd play Fortnite. Or if I wanted to play this, I mean, never played Call of Duty Battle Royale, but I would play that. But I'm just not interested in that. And unfortunately, that's what they catered to, is trying to attract those people from the other games to come to this one. And it's just like, you should have just focused on what you said you were going to focus on, which is the core Battlefield gameplay, not trying to appeal to Battle Royale players. Like, it doesn't matter. You spread yourself too thin at that point. And yeah, it's like two versions of Battlefield. So you think it's not that bad, but obviously you could tell that one version of Battlefield got a little bit more love than the other one, when the maps are much more interesting for the Battle Royale mode.
You know, you got two massive armies just smashing each other for control of land. You know, it's a tactical squad-based war game. You know, it's not a scavenger hunt for supplies and resources. So RedSec was clearly envisioned as a competitor to Call of Duty's Warzone. And here's where we start to see the main problem. Battlefield 6 tried to compete with Call of Duty on every front: core multiplayer, PvE, and Battle Royale. The thing is, they were successful. They actually stole the COD audience who came for the multiplayer, and all you should have done is hook them on what makes Battlefield special. You see, that's what all those people bought the game for, was the core multiplayer. Instead, for whatever reason, RedSec was given priority, and it took away resources and time that might have been better spent on improving the core multiplayer.
Exactly. Like, one thing that I thought that was pretty funny was being able to drive around in the golf carts, but that was in the Battle Royale version, not the regular version. It's like, yeah, you get to go to California and fuck shit up in California in the Battle Royale mode, but not in the regular mode. We don't have the potential invasion of California scenario. I mean, you do now, but when the RedSec first came out, you didn't, I believe. I may be wrong on that, but either way, like the map is much more interesting in the Battle Royale version than the regular version, that's for sure. Like, I remember specifically in the in RedSec, you have the part of the map where there's like a plane crash, and you see destroyed homes around the plane crash, but there's a neighborhood that hasn't been touched by the wreckage, and it's just like regular, looks like Malibu or whatever. Well, not Malibu, but Bel Air or whatever. I don't know anything about California's like the regions, but you get the point. Like the fancy houses are still standing, and you don't get that in the regular Battlefield game mode. You have just the standard California-esque looking map.
They also tied RedSec to weekly challenges, which made people feel like EA was pushing fans away from the style of Battlefield game that they wanted to play in favor of this shiny new Battle Royale. I think the fast-paced close quarters combat drew in many people, but it wasn't the complete package of what hardcore Battlefield fans wanted, which realistically is just a spiritual successor to Battlefield 4. And when it comes to Portal, EA had promised that this mode would be a chill place for players to grind XP against bots with access to the full progression trees. But there's too many bot farms, so you all suffer reduced XP gains now. Also, don't you dare try to recreate maps from other FPS games and play them in ours. Who do you think we are, Valve? Portal is an ambitious feature, sure, but as far as I'm aware, the quality of it has only been nerfed since launch. And that's the opposite of what you expect from a game that's trying to be a live service. No part of Battlefield 6 really feels like it has improved since I last played it. Granted, it's still like, it's not a bad game. I think it's great. But I do feel like my expectations were not met, especially compared to how other live service games are being handled. Like, Arc Raiders came out around the same time and has a much more consistent player base. Even Helldivers 2 is still going strong with all the updates and content. And it certainly doesn't help when EA has to delay Season 2 content.
That is the crazy part, is that I think Helldivers 2 might actually have more players on it than Battlefield 6 does right now. I'm going to check real quick. Helldivers 2 Steam charts. Battlefield 6 charts. So Battlefield 6 has got 24-hour peak, for 24-hour peak only, 52,000 for Battlefield 6. For Helldivers 2, it's 55,000. Helldivers came out what year? 2 years ago? It came out February 26, 2024. So it came out 2 years ago. And has more players, 3,000 more players than Battlefield 6 that came out last year in October, late of 2025. So, and they're both live service games, just different scales of live service, right? Like Helldivers is 4-player PvE co-op, and then you have Battlefield 6, which is supposed to be your battle sim with massive combat, and yet you can't even last a year maintaining your player base, like maintaining a healthy player base.
It just seems like EA's strategy revolved around stealing or siphoning off as much of COD's audience as possible, a fan base who has been pretty disgruntled with recent games and looking for something new. Then when they succeed,
don't forget Overwatch, realistically, if we want to include Overwatch, because Overwatch is kind of dudey as well.
EA was like, all right, well, let's just give them more COD. No, they came for Battlefield. This game had to destroy Call of Duty, and it seems EA bit off more than they could chew. Battlefield 6 is the victim of unrealistic expectations and an unhealthy amount of investment. The budget ballooned to over $400 million. Like, to put into perspective how ridiculous that is, there are only 5 movies in existence that have ever had a higher budget. Like, this is just stupid.
Hold on. I feel like this is out of date. Avatar had a $400 million budget. The Fire and Ash. So, you know, the third Avatar movie, it should be up here. Oh, wait. 350 mil? It was reported 400 million, not 3. Interesting. Okay.
in
Okay, whatever.
existence that have ever had a higher budget. Like, this is just stupid. Why would you put that much money in? How do you put that much money in? Regardless,
People padding their own salaries. That's how it happens, you know. I feel like I don't know what it is. Like, I thought 200 million was crazy, and now we're in the 400 millions. Basically, it's doubled, and it's not like actors have gotten more talented. They have, they're the same kind of artists. I don't know what it is. Like, computer graphics designers and stuff, they don't have to, I don't know what it is that makes it cost so much money. So
we're not in control of these decisions, and if you're a corporate guy who's funding this and putting this much money in, you expect to get a return. Now, what were EA's goals again? EA reportedly expects Battlefield 6 to have 100 million players.
Yeah.
Are you high right now? What?
It's Dr. Evil numbers.
100. I don't think there's a single game that has ever had 100 million players.
$100 billion.
Dude, Mr. Beast doesn't even get 100 million views on each one of his videos. Like, what? You're talking insane numbers. Now, here's the thing. Their game plan could have worked. We're making a faster Battlefield. You see, you can have a faster Battlefield game with a vibrant PvE mode, a solid campaign, and a battle royale. I don't think the strategy is the problem, but it's like the motivations behind it. You have to start from your base. If you want to branch out and appeal to Call of Duty fans, then you at least got to give the core fans that experience they're hoping for. Here's the thing, expecting 100 million players is so unrealistic. What does that do to the devs?
You better make this much money. It's a completely absurd amount. It's 3 times higher than the best-selling game in the franchise, but you've got to do triple.
Now, despite all of the criticisms of Battlefield 6, like, it still has a very solid player base.
Yes, because 50,000 players is still good for Steam alone. It's just that it's not ideal for a game that's 6 months old. The game has only lasted half a year and it's lost majority of its player base. You know, it's insane how many people have quit. And it's just mainly because they feel like that they've been lied to. And if I go to the Steam chart, not Steam charts, if I go to the store page, Battlefield 6. It's actually on sale right now, and it's got mixed reviews. If I go to the reviews and look... Oh yeah, that's also another thing. A big reason why Battlefield 6 has also lost a lot of players is because of their lack of support for Linux as well. Well, that's not why they lost a lot of players. They lost a lot of potential customers. Because of their anti-cheat system, the anti-cheat system that does not work, right? Like, the anti-cheat definitely pissed a lot of people off. Let's see, not recommended. BO6 is a masterclass of player manipulation. EA delivered the best-selling game of 2025, raked in $3 billion, and then immediately rewarded the devs of DICE and Criterion with mass layoffs. Debate, a polished beta designed specifically to trick you to pre-ordering. The Switch, a hollow, bare-bones live service with constant delays and zero meaningful content. The Betrayal, firing eight-year veterans right after a record-breaking launch proves EA cares only about microtransactions, not about the community or the craft. They've already moved on to making Battlefield 7 for a yearly release cycle. Avoid this shell of a game. Another person says, please update your AMD Radeon driver. Detected AMD Radeon driver version, blah, blah, blah. The required driver is the same. Oh, yeah. No, it's not the same number. Or later, please update your driver. Says, thanks for the latest patch. Unfortunately, I cannot refund. How long ago was this? This was made... Oh, it was posted today. So that person can't even play, and that's today, right now. Like, yeah. They cannot repair any blank work to properly. Beta was so blank and good, but the full game is kind of blank. I love, but I am more and more disappointed after developing this game. In the future, they're like, here you go, we give you this, and then silence, nothing happening. No patch to fix random crashes, no patch where you get no reward after a match, or no bad things, no responses. They're just abandoning the game. Yeah, that's also another thing I forgot. I'm remembering now. It's the performance for the game went from really, really decent. It happened randomly in the beta. It was when I went from piss poor performance to good performance, shit performance, to okay performance, to shit performance. There's no consistency between each like day or that you're playing the game. The performance for the game is pretty atrocious as well for PC. I have a 3080, which it's like a 5-year graphics card, 5-year-old graphics card now. But this game says it requires recommended is a 3060 Ti or AMD Radeon RX 67X XT and 16 gigs of regular RAM. Doesn't say how much video RAM you should have. I would say if you want to play this game with decent performance, you need like a 3090 at least. And that's just the sad part of that is that that's the real recommended, not what they post. What they post is horse shit.
Look, if you're not happy with 50,000 people like playing your game at the same time, I feel like any developer would be happy with 50,000 people playing their game like 6 months after release. And with the right updates and content, maybe
if you think about it, and I know it just unpaused it, but if you think about it, I played Lost Ark on launch. It had 1.3 million players. A lot of people are like, oh, half of them are bots. It's like, no, it's not bots. It's got a lot of hype behind it. The thing is, it's like, yes, there are bots in the game. There were bots in the game at that time, but there were not 500,000 bots. The game had so much hype and so many big streamers behind it. Like almost every big streamer was playing Lost Ark at the time. And that game went from 1.3 million to, after the first year, it went down to like 200,000 to 300,000. And yes, that's like, that's like 1 million players that quit after a year. That's a year. And you still have a healthy player base of 200,000 to 300,000. And then the following year was when it dropped down to the tens of thousands. And now we are currently on year 4 for Lost Ark, and it's in the thousands, like between 6,000 to 10,000 players for Lost Ark still. So the game is it's slowly dying, but it's still doing okay for an MMO, but it's not that great. Definitely needs more players to maintain a healthy population for an MMO. And that's kind of the thing about these live service games, is that you need to attract people to come back to your games and give them motivation, give them some reason to come back.
a shift in focus, I bet loads of people would come back to this game, and it could easily stabilize with a player count of 6 digits. So what is EA's latest game plan to strengthen Battlefield 6? Surely there's some massive new content update in the works. Battlefield 6 was the biggest launch in franchise history. 6 months later, EA is laying off the people who made it. What's that? Layoffs? Don't talk about layoffs? You kidding me? Layoffs? I must have had something in my ears. Come again, Noble One. Did you say layoffs?
You heard that correctly.
EA has confirmed that an unknown number of employees have been laid off from the studios that made the game, including Criterion, DICE, Ripple Effect, and Motive. Battlefield 6, more like Slaughterhouse 6, Jesus. So clearly there's like no way to justify this or spin it in a good light. And this is the funny part where we have to read exactly that corporate statement. Here is EA's official statement. We've made select changes within our Battlefield organization to better align our teams around what matters most to our community.
Yeah.
I can't even do that with a straight face. We're doing these layoffs for you guys. This will better align our fans in our community, because one of the biggest complaints was the lack of content, and by getting
by firing them all, you guys get more content, right?
Getting rid of people, we'll be able to make content faster. Just so we're clear, crystal clear as Walter White's meth. You're laying off people from the teams that released the best-selling game of 2025 to better serve the community that made it the best-selling game of 2025.
Yeah, that's like a restaurant, for instance, like a Michelin star restaurant firing their chefs because the food's coming out a little bit too slowly, but still great food. You know, they're cooking, but you're firing all the chefs, but you're a restaurant, you know, but you're promising people that the food's going to come out. You fired off your entire kitchen staff, but the food's coming. It's still coming. It's just so idiotic, you know. I don't understand the logic behind, well, we know the logic behind these fucking corporate dickheads. It's increased their profit margins by firing anybody, like firing off people that you don't see as necessary in that moment, you know, and that ridiculous.
What?
But you haven't been serving the community already. It's not even worth pointing out the stupidity of the statement. It's the action itself. Like Battlefield 6 got the gold medal. Is there anything better in a game industry than like best-selling game of the year? Imagine Bill Belichick going up to Tom Brady after the end of the 2007 season where they went 16-0, and he's like, "Yeah, Tom, it's just not working out. What? But I threw 50 touchdowns this season. Yeah, but you didn't throw 51 now, did you? And we lost that Super Bowl. I mean, would you mind cleaning out your locker?" It's just crazy, man. Again, if you run the numbers over the first 3 days of its launch, Battlefield 6 was literally making $347 per second. Net revenue, not gross. I mean, who knows how much money they would have made by the time this sentence ends, right? Maybe a few $1,000s. I'm not happy with that. I didn't make enough money. Game doesn't sell, layoffs. Game does sell, layoffs. We lay them off and then we hire new people to make the sequel. Your team is not efficient? Layoffs. Right away. Straight to layoffs. Your team is too efficient, believe it or not? Also layoffs. I really am getting tired of this disgusting trend of treating like such highly talented people as disposable pawns, right? It's like all of my favorite studios.
This is why it's so stupid these days to even show any sense of loyalty to a company. And I don't just mean from a consumer standpoint, but from an employment standpoint. You can work for a company like, let's just use EA as the example, since that's what we're talking about here. You could be an employee for EA, work your ass off, to work overtime as needed. You break your you're working day and night on your projects. You're putting your heart and soul and blood and sweat into your projects because you're very passionate about the game, and your game does really, really well, and you still get punished for it because you're not at the executive level where your job is mostly secure. Not entirely, because executives do get laid off whenever, at some point, whether it's a company that gets acquired or investors are unhappy with the performance of an executive, but that's besides the point. Unless you are in an executive seat or you're a member of the board, your job is not secure. The job security is a thing of the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. Like, it started happening in the 90s and the early 2000s where jobs became less secure. Now here we are, 2026, and your job is about as secure as leaving your door unlocked at night in Chicago. You know, like, that's about as secure as your job's ever going to be these days. Doesn't matter what job you do, where you work at, and it's just fucking ridiculous. You go to school to get these skill sets to work for companies like EA or any other company, big company like Blizzard or Microsoft or Bungie, you know, any of these companies, and then you do a good job. You release a game that either does really well or does mediocre or does poor. If a game does poor and a company loses a shit ton of money, sure, you kind of do. If your team is responsible, then maybe there should be some sort of punishment, you know, like a layoff. But if that's, you know, it depends on the team. If the team is the one to blame, sure. But if your game does well and you make a shit ton of money, why the fuck are you being laid off? It's so idiotic. They're not keeping the talent that made them the money. They're just throwing away. You have to do they not? I just don't understand. I understand their point of view of, oh, we got to increase our profit margins by laying off all these people so we can get ourselves bigger bonuses. But at the same time, whenever you lay off talent, you have to then go through the interview process all over again to bring new talent back in or bring the same people back. And why the hell would the same people that you just laid off go back? Unless they're desperate for money, they'll either do their own game, make their own games, you know, or kind of like what Frost Giant did, which unfortunately bad example because they're kind of shit. But you know, that's kind of what an example of it. Or they do make their own indie game, or they go to your competitor. But like, this is why I fucking hate the culture that's developed over the last 20 years. There's no such thing as, you can't be loyal to any company because the company always stabs you in the ass when you least expect it. Nothing like rewarding good performance by telling them that they're fired, you know?
And the games that they produced, they've all been eviscerated by corporate greed and layoffs and all the upper leadership leaving, to the point where companies like Blizzard, DICE, Bungie aren't really recognizable to me anymore, or at least I don't feel like the company culture is the same. I mean, it's like layoffs are supposed to happen when a company isn't profitable, right? Or a product flops spectacularly. You know, they laid off people at Wildlight before shutting down Highguard. The real reason for these layoffs is that EA is potentially getting acquired by the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund for $55 billion. What happens when companies get acquired or merge? Layoffs. They want to cut staff to appear lean and efficient to make the purchase and acquisition look better. See how smoothly things are running? It's kind of like saying, yeah, I lost 10 pounds. Oh, that's great. And then you see a picture of this person and they're basically anorexic. I think it's pretty clear that the reason Battlefield 6 fell off is also due in part to how it was managed, what the expectations were, and now that they're being put in a position where I think it's the juxtaposition of massive success still resulting in mass layoffs. Like no bar is your job safe if you work in the video game industry and you're not in a management position, right? And think of like the mental toll that has on someone. Could you go to work every day and just be chill without having any sense or feeling of job security? The number of times I've had to...
It's why I basically just said for like the last 10 minutes. What he just said. I already said it, but I lost my train of thought. There was something I was gonna say. Yeah, now I remember. I remember the days when I was in my teens, my young teens, when you see those videos. And it was specifically when I was 16 years old, so mid-teens at this point, when I remember seeing an interview for some of these employees at Electronic Arts and how much the company appreciated the staff back then by having nice food on the premises. You have a gym, you could do all these other cool things. Like they have all these commodities that you get to have on the job site. You're making it so you're making a good salary, making games that you enjoy, that you work on projects that you enjoy. You have all these healthy foods or these nice foods on the site. You have all these commodities. You have like this sense of appreciation and achievement working at these studios, and it's been transformed from that into literally a freaking concentration camp where you are told, or a slave labor camp. You know, you're told to go do something, and then as soon as you do it, you're axed. You know, that's basically what these game studios have turned into. Freaking slave labor camps or concentration camps. You're told to do something, and then as soon as you're done doing it, you're axed, you're gone. You know, you're let go. Your studio gets shut down. Quite literally. That's probably the best comparison I can make, is that's what it is. You know, it's just ridiculous. It's insane how some of these like companies, they go to the point of where after they've acquired a studio and that studio has done well, that there has happened sometimes, especially these days, it's more common where the entire studio just gets shut down, even though the game did really well. It's actually insane. They literally put whole genres to death by starting another studio. What was it? It was when it was Sega, or who was it that bought THQ? I can't remember. I have to look it up. But anyway, it was back when THQ got acquired. Saints Row the Fourth just came out, and Dawn of War 3 was the trailer for it was shown. There was a lot of promises of bringing back the good old Dawn of War gameplay with base building and total annihilation game mode. It was going to be going back to their roots, and then THQ gets launched. Not launched. They get acquired, and then everything goes dark. You know, the news about those games go completely dark, as you'd expect, because like, okay, well, now there's no news of when these games will ever come out, if they'll ever come out. And then what happens? The entire projection, of the game is not just shifted, but it's the project has been altered to try to appeal to a different audience than what you promised. And then next thing you know, the game flops.
Bring up the Satoru Iwata quote is staggering, but it really shows the difference in culture between like Japanese game developers who, you know, are all honor bound, and Western game developers who could not give a shit if you generated billions of dollars for the company. It's like, what have you done for me recently? If we reduce the number of employees for better short-term financial results, employee morale will decrease. I sincerely doubt employees who fear that they may be laid off will be able to develop software titles that could impress people around the world. Why did the developers of Highguard at Wildlight make Highguard? Because they were sick of working under EA. At a certain point, these companies will just bleed through the talent that created the magic. I mean, looking back, it's still silly that Tango Gameworks was shut down by Xbox after they produced an award-winning, critically acclaimed Hi-Fi Rush. But now even being the most profitable game isn't enough. Nobody can win. I'm the CEO. I need all the money. Speaking of losing top-tier talent, one last thing to mention is the tragic death of Vince Zampella, who died in an avoidable car accident. That must have had a huge effect on DICE's morale and just the feeling in the studio overall. Your leader, a well-respected industry veteran, dying in such a horrific way, I mean, it's bumming me out talking about it. But perhaps because of his status and legacy and position, it could be that he was able to shield DICE from some of EA's more unscrupulous ideas. And now that he's gone, the relationship isn't quite the same. And I'm sure the people across the Battlefield studios are certainly missing his leadership and guidance, as we all are. So why did Battlefield 6 fall off? For a variety of reasons. Number one, EA overinvested in this game, overpromised, set expectations way too high, and after they undelivered, they said, well, let's cut our losses. They tried.
What I was going to say is I wasn't sure if he was going to go more into that, but basically, when he made the point of the CEO feeling like he needs to have all the money, I know it's like half a joke and half, but mostly serious. That's because that's how all CEOs think. They think that because they're the chief executive officer, that they're the most important role in the company. It's like, well, your role in the company is important, but if you don't have a talented team to make the projects that you are representing, if they're not developing those projects, if they're not making the games, you're the chief executive officer of nothing, right? Like, if you don't appreciate your staff as much as you appreciate yourself, and I mean, it reflects on your image. You know, if you show how you don't give a shit about anybody else, I mean, why should anybody give a shit about you? I don't know. I just fucking hate CEOs in general. They're all so fucking greedy. Not like the CEO of the Japanese airline, where he back in the 2008 to 2016 era, I think it was, with the recession, and the Japanese the CEO of the airline, he took a massive pay cut in his own salary to ensure that his pilots got paid. You know, we don't have any selflessness in that in any of the CEOs here in the West. No, they're all greedy pieces of shit. If they had a chance, they would freaking kick you out of your homes and sell your house if they could, you know, and leave you, you know, grabbing for scraps off the freaking floor that they're, you know, walking on. It's just the nature of these executives. They're so greedy and so evil, you know. They feel like they are the ones who are doing all the work, so they deserve all of the money, all the bonuses. And instead of you know, it's just like it's just ridiculous. It's like, instead of showing appreciation by giving, like, these, spreading the bonuses out and reinvesting into your own company by paying your employees a bonus, or, you know, giving them pay increases, you're just like, nah, fuck you. Get out of my building. You know, this is my house. Get out of my building. You no longer work here. That's the way they show appreciation these days.
Fighting a war against COD on all three fronts, and failed to take advantage of the huge momentum swing they had at launch. You could easily assign DICE to blame and the other studios who worked on Battlefield 6 for simply not delivering a robust live service, but I think the devil's in the details. Why couldn't they produce a robust live service? Battlefield 6 catered to a casual audience and not the hardcore Battlefield fanatics. And now it appears EA is shedding all of the talent that created the first-person shooter game in 18 years to dethrone Call of Duty. Well,
if we have, if there's any semblance, or if it shines any light, we can kind of get an idea of why the game isn't doing so well by looking at what Jeff Kaplan had to deal with Overwatch, and how he was basically given an ultimatum of his Overwatch has to make this much money, or you need to be firing this many people from your staff, you know. And that's how these executives treat the managers, who then manage the engineers who make these games. You know, they treat them like dirt. You know, you're given the hard decision of and all the responsibility of making sure the game does well. And you have to meet the deadlines that they tell you, that they give you. And it's just like, I understand the idea when it comes to having a leadership role is to delegate your responsibilities, but it does not also mean you should be delegating all the things that should be on your shoulders as a CEO. You shouldn't be delegating your responsibilities onto your staff. Like, if a game does poorly, you're saying it's not my fault, it's my staff's fault. No, a lot of the times it's because the reason why actually, like, all the reasons why that they do the things that they do is because you tell them to. Not they'll fight you. They'll try to tell you that decision is wrong. At least most of the time, you'd hope that that's what's happening. They'll tell you, hey, this is not what's popular. You know what? Or this is not. We don't think that this is good. This is what we should be doing. And then they're met with, nope, do it my way. You know, it's just one, you know, a lot of times, a lot of these CEOs or people below them, they have some sort of superiority complex where they think that their ideas are better than everyone else's. And if they're met with any opposition, you know, it's just like, nope, you do it my way or you're fired, or there's no debate or anything on decisions when it's amongst peers. There's no, you know, consideration or anything like that. I understand that the corporate life is difficult. That's why it's slow for things to change. But at the same time, it's like, well, if money talks, then you should, I don't know, you should probably bring up these I don't know. I was gonna go with something and I changed my mind. Basically, just freaking. I understand also why a lot of people probably give up on trying to fight for certain changes too, because probably it's words falling on deaf ears, you know. They bring up the issues, and then it's just like, nope, you still do it the way I tell you to do it. And then when things are really broken because there wasn't enough time given and there wasn't enough consideration, it then becomes the engineer's fault, even though they gave the, you know, enough time and reason to why something needs to be delayed or whatever.
Lessons be learned? Will upper management be fired at some point? Probably not. It's unfortunate. You know, I wish the best for them and for Battlefield 6. I might still play it occasionally, but just gotta make more content. But what do you think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to the Act Man for more awesome content. All right, everyone, that's all I got for today. This is the Act Man signing out.
Anyway, that's the Act Man. I'm going to link his video for those of you who are here. Give him a like. But yeah, pretty much on point with Act Man on that one. You know, like, the game could have been so much better than it is. And unfortunately, when you let idiots control the flow of the game, that's just what happens. All right, hold on a second. All right. Well, we went on and reacted for like an hour, right? So that was good to do some co-op, so we're gonna do some co-op. Not a crazy amount. Yeah, it's a damn shame that what happened with Battlefield 6. It's like yes, it's just numbers, but unfortunately numbers speak much louder than the gameplay, right? Like, because it does give you a metric of how well a game is doing. And if the game drops so many players, then that kind of gives other people an indication of how well the game is, you know. And if it loses a lot of players, then the game appears to be bad. If it retains a lot of players, the game must be good. So it's a damn shame that a lot of these it's like these executives, these upper management people don't get punished for poor performance or poor judgment.
You have not enough minerals. You have not enough minerals.
Greetings, Commanders. 𝙀𝙓𝙋𝘼𝙉𝘿 seeks to destroy Ulnar by capturing its celestial locks and allowing their energies to overload.
There's no reason why any of those people should have gotten fired.
Activate all 5 locks. It will take units from both of your armies to do so. Work together and prevail.
Now, if it's the other way around, if we're talking about a game that did poorly, then yeah, people do deserve to get fired if the game did so poorly that it cost the studio a lot of money, you know. But not for doing really well, not for a game that did well. And I imagine the reason why the content was being delayed and stuff was probably because they were being told that they couldn't do the things that they wanted to do because it's not in the best interest of their investors or whatever, or they just didn't agree with it, or they didn't like it, rather than just letting them cook and see what works and what doesn't work, or doing things that they know that'll work. Like knowing that people don't want stupid freaking skins like in Call of Duty, you're telling them that they gotta make stupid skins like in Call of Duty. It's like, sorry dude, you gotta make them because we like them. We want that microtransaction money. even though you just told your audience you weren't gonna do that. Now you're basically lying, and people already don't like your company as is for being known as being known for, you know, going back on your word.
Wonders of modern technology.
My blades are ready once more.
Shadows. It shall be as you say.
I have taken an artifact fragment into my care.
Amon's army is attempting to secure a celestial lock. It will begin to overload if they succeed.
Heading out.
Your ally requires your presence to claim the objective. My burdens weigh heavily.
Your allies are in battle.
I seek the path of salvation. I shall find a way. I bring wisdom. Our foes are cloaked in shadow. Join your ally to claim the objective.
Your allies are in battle.
The celestial lock will soon be under enemy control. We have activated a celestial lock. It would be wise to defend it as we work to secure the others.
Wisdom in time.
Bringing a defensive drone online.
Amon has turned one of Ulnar's constructs to his will. If you can, destroy it and free it from its ill fate. We have managed to reclaim 3 of the 5 locks. 2 more and our battle is won.
Your allies are in battle.
The fragment is secure.
Your allies are in battle.
My allegiance is yours.
Join your ally to claim the objective.
I bring wisdom in times of chaos. I shall find a way.
have activated 4 of the locks. We need only do the same to the 5th.
We must. I bring wisdom in times of chaos. 𝙀𝙓𝙋𝘼𝙉𝘿.
The enemy is attempting to capture a celestial lock. Another lock is now under our control.
A worthwhile struggle indeed.
They never saw us coming.
GG. Artifact trucks. Yuck.
You have not enough minerals.
Mobius Corps built a battle station on this platform, and we're gonna have to dismantle it sector by sector. I loaded these trucks with some Naga artifacts that'll scramble their setup. Get them in place before it's too late. The artifacts in your truck will disarm this construct, like fighting fire with fire. You'll find this sector just to the north of your position.
Calling in a drone. It'll harvest some best bean real quick like.
Slowly but surely.
My Draken laser drill's coming online.
construct's just rubble now.
The prophecy. Ah, that shall be of use.
The battle station's readying its attack. We need to get going.
You have not enough. Your allies' base is besieged.
I bring wisdom. And
The first truck's in place. Get to safety. It's about to blow.
the prophecy guides us.
You have not enough minerals.
Happy to say we only have 3 sectors left.
And I will see that it is destroyed.
2 spare trucks have been prepped for you. Head east and you'll find the sector before you know it.
Path of salvation. The prophecy. The enemy means to attack our base. We must be prepared. I bring wisdom.
These research outposts are transferring their data so they can build additional weapons elsewhere. If you have time to escort your truck to them, it'll disrupt the connection. Consider it a target of opportunity.
I bring wisdom in times of chaos. My burden. From the shadows I come. I seek the path of...
You have not enough minerals. You have not enough minerals.
From the shadows I come.
You have not enough minerals.
The prophecy guides us. Glory to the day. I bring wisdom in times. You address me. Glory.
Good work. One less construct to deal with. Bad news, Commanders. An attack wave is coming for your truck.
Path of salvation. You address me. The prophecy guides us. I have collected the fragments. My burdens weigh.
All right.
Allies are in battle.
From the shadows.
Enemies approaching fast. Man, they look mad.
Yeah, I lost half my freaking DTs.
Looks like Amon's minions have found your truck's location. Expect an attack soon. Well done. The construct's down. That's 1 truck down.
Of salvation.
Considering I just did the whole thing of killing all those constructs.
The prophet. My burdens weigh heavily.
Move out of the blast radius, quickly.
I seek the path of my burden. 𝙀𝙓𝙋𝘼𝙉𝘿.
Demolition complete. And we've delayed them from activating the battle station's weapons.
That's a good time every time.
My team strapped together some new trucks. This is the next sector. I can't wait to see it go up in flames.
I seek the path of salvation. And they are coming to threaten our base, but we shall answer.
These research outposts started transferring their weaponry data as soon as they noticed your presence here. Would you mind taking your truck over? Its artifacts will sever the connection real quick.
I will fulfill my calling. From the shadows I come. I bring wisdom in times of chaos.
The enemy is targeting your truck's coordinates. Keep an eye out. You did it. Construct's just rubble now. The enemy is targeting your truck's coordinates. Keep an eye out.
Our base is in peril. We should protect it with all we have.
Well done. Construct's down. Mobia's research outpost is almost finished uploading its data. Now for the other truck. Hurry up before it goes up in flames.
𝙀𝙓𝙋𝘼𝙉𝘿.
Your allies are in battle.
Well, there's nothing left of that sector. Now it'll take them longer to fire the battle station.
We will turn the tides of fate.
Both of your trucks have arrived. This sector is south of your current base of operations.
From the shadows I come. I seek the path of salvation.
Are in battle.
From the shadows I come. My burdens. I seek the path of salvation.
Bonus objective completed.
I seek the path of salvation.
You have not enough minerals.
You address
All right.
me.
Your allies are in battle.
Even now, enemies descend on our base. The path of salvation.
Bad news, commanders. An attack wave is coming for your truck. Good work. It's one less construct to deal with. Minions have found your truck's location. Expect an attack soon. Looks like 𝙀𝙓𝙋𝘼𝙉𝘿's minions have found your truck's location. Expect an attack soon.
The time for thought is over. I must act.
Well done. Construct's down.
Got an enemy attack inbound on our base, buddy.
But you might want to know.
That's one truck down. Mission successful. Nice job, commanders. Now, I'll be forgetting all about this. And you.
What? You said, and me? How could you forget about me? And forget about me? I think it would take 3 brutal missions to get to level 14. Alright, I'll bring it back. All right, I'm back. Dukov shuttles. What?
You have not enough minerals.
Very good.
Thank you for responding to our call. It seems Amon is using Kaldir's warp conduits to transport his troops across the sector. You won't be able to destroy the warp conduits, but you can destroy the shuttles. You must do so before they leave the planet.
You have not enough minerals.
Amon has activated the central warp conduit. Be prepared to prevent the shuttles from escaping.
You have not enough minerals.
State thy bidding. Cold is the void.
You have not enough minerals.
All right.
I am here in the shadows. They are coming to threaten our base, but we shall answer. We are one with the shadows. Cold is the void. So our enemies are at Protoss. Unfortunate. You require code. State thy bidding. You require I am the heart. Code real. I am the voice. State thy bidding. The time for thought is over. I must act. I shall find you. My burdens away. Ah, the fragment is mine. Glory to the day. I will fulfill my promise. 𝙀𝙓𝙋𝘼𝙉𝘿. I bring wisdom in times of chaos.
We have an enemy attack inbound.
We must not hesitate. Here in the shadows.
I have been working on something.
prophecy guides. I bring 𝙀𝙓𝙋𝘼𝙉𝘿.
Your allies are in battle.
My burdens weigh heavily. I am here in the shadow.
You have not enough minerals.
The prophecy.
Several shuttles are en route to the central warp conduit. Your objective is to eliminate them.
I seek the path of salvation. The prophecy. 𝙀𝙓.
You have not enough minerals.
My burdens weigh heavily. We must not. I am here in the shadow. The Alexander! The enemy needs to attack our base. We must be prepared.
The shuttles have been destroyed.
Killing a fleeing adversary. How familiar. We must not hesitate.
Where is it? Right there.
I shall find a way.
Kaldyr's Xel'Naga shrines may contain invaluable knowledge. My team is setting out to scan them, but they will require protection. Research vessel. Let's make this one count.
Go with that one.
You address me.
Your allies are in battle.
My burdens weigh heavily. Honor commands. Our foes are cloaked in shadow. A familiar trick. I seek the path of salvation.
A wave of shuttles is making its way to an active warp conduit.
We will thwart their evacuation. 𝙀𝙓𝙋𝘼𝙉𝘿. My allegiance is yours. I am we. I seek the path of salvation. Honor commands.
Enemy forces are moving towards our base.
Now this one, I am proud of.
You have prevented the shuttle's escape.
It reminds me of duck hunting back on Earth.
We've gathered the data we need. Thank you for the escort, commanders.
Wars are won through persistence.
It seems our foes intend to attack us directly.
I face a new trial. My allegiance is yours. 𝙀𝙓𝙋𝘼𝙉𝙿.
Another wave of shuttles is headed for a warp conduit.
They cannot run from the shadows.
A wave of shuttles has been shot down.
Say good night.
Closing in on our base. Ready your blades.
Your allies are inbound.
The prophecy shall find your way.
I call this the apocalypse.
Will be back.
Research vessel ready. Let's get a team to that shrine.
My burden. I seek the path of salvation. You address me? Sure. I bring wisdom in times of chaos. The prophecy guides us.
It appears that 2 warp conduits are active. Multiple waves of shuttles are in transit.
The enemy has taken an interest in our base. Let us see what additional infestation can do.
Shuttles eliminated, commanders.
Escape was never an option for them.
I seek the path of salvation.
Our scans are finished. Science owes you a great debt, commanders.
I suppose my infested make for good guard dogs.
Glory to the daylight.
You have not enough minerals.
Another warp conduit has been activated. A wave of shuttles is headed toward it.
My forces will see to its demise.
I...
Let our enemy know.
The shuttles are no more.
They picked the wrong fight.
Our base is in peril. We should protect it with all we have.
Our research vessel is ready. We're moving out now.
Just surrounding the building.
We're detecting your main objective, a wave of shuttles inbound on an active conduit.
We will not allow it to escape.
Scans confirm the shuttle's destruction.
I knew it could be done.
I mean, if you looked at the map, you knew they had no chance of escaping anyway.
I believe the enemy wishes to test our defenses. It seems my structure requires more infestation.
You have not been... Your allies are in battle. Your allies' base is besieged. Your allies are in battle. Your warriors have engaged the enemy.
Scan complete. Thank you for your help. They would have been lost without you.
Well done, my warriors. Glory to the Daemon.
GG.
Now this one, I am proud of.
Amon has activated all 3 warp conduits. Hurry, Commanders. We must stop the shuttles.
Accept suffering and achieve victory through it. That is what I must do.
All right. GG's. Error. The hell's the error for? Just say there's no reason for that. All right. I'll be right back. All right, I'm gonna call it for now. I'll be back on in an hour or two. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoy the stream. If you're new and haven't followed, be sure to give the channel a follow. And yeah, I'll be back on afterwards. I just gotta go up and run in there in a 2. But yeah, I'll be back. See you guys. See you later, Andalorian. Thanks.